Bienvenidos una vez más a la Escuela Latinoamericana de Trombón. Pues bueno, para mí un enorme placer. Hoy es un día de celebración porque bueno, llegamos a este número que jamás pensábamos que íbamos a llegar. Y bueno, qué honor y qué placer que sea nada más y nada menos con JÖRGEN van Rijen. De verdad que impresionado, un honor, una emoción indescriptible. Creo yo que para los que nos están viendo, nos verán, pueden compartir esta transmisión como video en grupo y así llegará a mayor cantidad de trombonistas. Así que bueno, el moderador del día de hoy pues será el maestro Matías Varela, trombonista chileno, y que agradecemos por supuesto toda la producción y todo el esfuerzo que ha hecho para poder llegar el día de hoy con el invitado número 200. Bienvenido, Mati.
Hola Alejandro, hola a todos, mucho gusto, gracias por darme este placer de estar hoy con uno de mis maestros desde pequeño también en Ámsterdam. Seguimos en inglés para
Ok,
que el maestro
Mati,
Jorge...
antes quisiera agradecer también, la transmisión también se está llevando a cabo, muchísimas gracias a Andrés León desde Costa Rica a través de Uniendo Distancia. Estamos en paralelo con la Escuela Latinoamericana de Trombón y Uniendo Distancia. Bienvenido Andrés, muchísimas gracias.
Muy contento de estar hoy aquí, tener este 200, ¿verdad? Este episodio 200 de esta manera creo que es una gran celebración, así que muy contento con Matías, con JÖRGEN, que aceptó la invitación que usted le hizo, Matías, y con usted, Alejandro, por permitir que todo esto pase. Un saludo a todos.
Ok, gracias Andrés, gracias Alejandro. Welcome Jorgen.
Thank you.
Thanks
Nice
a lot
to see
for
you.
your time. I know that at the moment you are really busy. But thanks a lot for making on your schedule for 1 hour to talk, to know you a little bit better for people that are your hero, for sure. That in Latin America, a lot of people say, I want to play like JÖRGEN. I want to be like JÖRGEN. And now we have the opportunity to have you with us.
Thank you.
So, first question. La primera pregunta será para JÖRGEN. Why did you choose the trombone?
That's a good question. I don't completely know. But the only thing I really know is that I wanted to play trombone since I was very young. My father was in the local wind band, the banda of my hometown. And I was walking around as a small kid there. And since I was about 4 years old, everybody who asked me, what will you play when you grow up? And I always said trombone.
Okay. Now I have to do the translation. So, JÖRGEN, cuando él era pequeño como la hija de...
He's climbing on the thing. 1 second.
Entonces yo hago la traducción. Ahora, cuando JÖRGEN era pequeño, tenía alrededor de 4 años, el padre tocaba en la banda del pueblo y él decía que siempre quería tocar el trombón. Imagínense, desde los 4 años que JÖRGEN estaba interesado en tocar el trombón. And then, JÖRGEN, you chose the trombone. Did you start playing in a banda? Did you start having some lessons with someone?
Yes. Coming back to your first question, one reason I think, but it's only what I can think now, is that I choose the trombone because I had a nephew that I never knew because he unfortunately died when he was 11 or 12 years old. But he played trombone and everybody said he was very talented and he was making... So I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I always saw his picture with the trombone in my uncle and aunt's house. And I think that must have at least caused that I knew what the trombone was. And somehow I think this is the reason I wanted to play it, but I cannot remember. It's only what I put in afterwards.
You didn't know him, your nephew?
No, because I was around 4 or 5 when he died. So I never really, I don't remember him. But I remember having all the pictures and always the people talked about that he was a talented trombone player and he played trombone. So I think somehow that drew me in that direction.
Entonces, lo que dice JÖRGEN ahora es que él tenía un primo, si no me equivoco en la traducción, y él nunca lo conoció, porque siempre iba a la casa de su tío, veía la foto de su primo con el trombón y decía, oh, me gusta ese instrumento. Y también decía, la gente le decía a él que él era muy talentoso. Y desde ese momento él quedó encantado con el trombón. And then, Jorgen, you start playing the trombone.
Yes.
Your nephew.
Yes, I was about 8 years old when I started to play. And of course, my arms were not long enough. So I started they gave me from the banda, they gave me a valve trombone first,
Okay.
which was much too heavy for me because in the valve trombone, all the weight is here. And so my father made a hook on my music stand, and I put the trombone in the hook and then I was playing. And then when I was 9, I could reach the 6th position. And then my teacher told me, okay, now you can play slide trombone. So since I was 9, I played the slide trombone.
Entonces, cuando Jorgen tenía 8 años, su padre le dio un trombón con pistones y no alcanzaba tampoco la última posición y luego el padre le hizo un agujero en el atril para poder alcanzar todas las posiciones. Luego, a la edad de 9 años, Jorgen tuvo la posibilidad de alcanzar la 6ª posición. And then
I was very lucky because in the local music school of my town was teaching the principal trombone of that time of the Rotterdam Philharmonic Orchestra, Bas Dekker. And he was a great trombone player and a great teacher. So since I was 9 years old, I was so lucky that I had a great trombone player as a teacher. And at some point he got sick. He got cancer in his throat, so he had to stop playing and stopped teaching. And then some people suggested me to go and play for his successor in the Rotterdam Philharmonic, George Wiegel, and to play for him once and to see what he said. And since that moment, I studied with him first in the sort of the talent class of the Rotterdam Conservatory and then in the real Rotterdam Conservatory.
Can you tell me again the name of the trombone player you took the first lesson from the Rotterdam?
Bas Dekker.
Okay. Bas Dekker, more or less in what year was that?
So I started with him when I was 8 years old, so that was in 83 until 93. For about 10 years, actually until I was 14, so 83 until 89 I had lessons with him, and then I went to George Wiegel.
Ok, cuando Jorgen tenía 8 años, tuvo la posibilidad de tener clases con Bas Dekker, que en ese momento, en el año 1983, era el primer trombón de la Rotterdam Philharmonic. Luego, él tuvo un problema en la garganta, no pudo seguir tocando y luego él tomó clases con George Wiegel, que actualmente es el director artístico de la Rotterdam Philharmonic. Hasta la edad, Jorgen tomó clases con él hasta la edad de 14 años. And then George Wiegel became your teacher, right?
Yes, yeah. And with him I studied for a long time, and I was very lucky because he's, first of all, a great teacher, and also he attracted many very good students. So we had a really very good class, and they're, first of all, still my best friends, but also, as trombone players, we pushed each other, and we had a great period. This is the start of this group called the Trombone Collective. And after studying for several years with George Wiegel, I got my job. First, I got actually his job in the Rotterdam Philharmonic, principal trombone of the Rotterdam Philharmonic. And half a year later, I went. Sorry?
That year was around 19.
Good question. I was 21, I think. So I was born in 75, so 96. I got a job in the Rotterdam Philharmonic, and in 97 I had a job in the Concertgebouw, which I still have now.
Ok, Jorgen ganó la audición cuando él tenía 21 años de trombón solista de la Rotterdam Philharmonic, tomando el puesto de George Beagle, que era también trombonista ahí. Y luego, el año siguiente, ganó la audición en la Concertgebouw, que es el trabajo que actualmente tiene Jörgen. Your years, your moment at the Rotterdam Conservatory. Can you tell us a little bit how was the beginning of this group, the New Trombone Collective? How did it start?
Yeah, it was somehow a coincidence that there was this group of talented trombone players coming together, and we all became very good friends. And in different groups, we had every week a trombone ensemble conducted by George Wiegel, our teacher. And we liked to play ensembles, and we started to do warm-ups together. We had a great relationship with a class in Lyon, in France, of Michel Becquet, famous, of course, the trombone teacher. And he introduced us to warm-up sessions and to do exercises together. We never did that before, but from that moment we do. And this formed the beginning of being a very strong group together. And we started to do concerts in different versions of quartets, groups. And after some time, we all got jobs in orchestras. And we thought it would be very nice to keep playing together. It was so automatic to do this every day in school. And we thought it would be a pity to lose this. So that's why we started the Trombone Collective. And until now, we are still playing together.
That year was that the New Trombone Collective started?
2001.
Ok, en el año 2001, en el Conservatorio de Rotterdam, todo el grupo de trombonistas, que eran muy talentosos, como algunos pueden saber, el profesor George, ensamble de trombones, y esto mismo, de casualidad, se formó un grupo tan unido, tan querido entre ellos, que tocaban el trombón juntos todos los días, y con eso se fue formando el grupo que se llama, hasta el día de hoy que existe, New Trombone Collective, como mucha gente lo conoce con sus CDs. A la vez se trabajaba muy de la mano junto con el profesor Michel Becquet, que era del Conservatorio de Lyon, y se trabajaba mucho la parte técnica para seguir mejorando. Jörgen, when was the first CD that you recorded with the New Trombone Collective as a group, and what was the name?
I don't know exactly the year, but I think it was pretty soon after we started. So I think 2003, 2004, we started to record, and we directly decided to do a whole project with 3 different CDs. So one CD is called New, and one CD is called Trombone, and one CD is called Collective. And the idea was to make we started with Collective, and that was really what we had as a group together. So there was really trombone ensemble pieces, some new that were written for us, and some that really were, most of them were the existing repertoire that we knew from our study time, and the pieces we liked, and really the pieces that brought us together as a group, as a collective. Then the next CD was Trombone, where all the different members of the group presented one own piece. So our own personal vision to the instrument, the trombone. Some were with the ensemble, some were with piano, just our own idea of trombone. And the last one was a CD called New, and that were only pieces that were written for us as a group. So altogether, this was a little bit our visit card, our identity as the New Trombone Collective. So this was in the first, I would say between 2003 and 2006, 2007, we recorded those CDs.
Ok, entre el año 2003 y 2006, New Trombone Collective, que era el grupo que acabo de mencionar, Jörgen acaba de mencionar, comenzó a grabar CDs, que el primero se llamó New, nuevo, Trombone Collective, en español sería colectivo, que sería como un grupo. Muy original los nombres, obviamente New Trombone Collective. Y luego, obviamente, empezaron a grabar el repertorio estándar para ensamble. Y luego el segundo CD se refirió a obras que ellos mismos proponían al grupo para poder grabarlo. Jürgen, there is a name of, I don't remember the name of the CD, but it's a really important track on one of those CDs. That the name is The Number of a Room. Can you tell me a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's 635. It's actually not on that CD, but it was more, that was recorded by our student group. And this was a funny thing because that was actually when I was already started teaching myself in Rotterdam Conservatory, because my teacher, George Wiegel, became at some point the director of the school. And then Pierre Volders, Remco de Jager, and me, we started to be the teachers at that time at the Rotterdam Conservatory. And a few years ago, the whole class, including all the teachers and students, moved to Amsterdam. So now this class is in Amsterdam. But at that time, I was still in Rotterdam, and we continued the tradition of the trombone ensemble. So we did every week a trombone ensemble session with all our students. And this was in room 6, the 6th floor, 635. And one of the students is Steven Verhelst. Maybe people know him as a composer and arranger because he wrote a lot for trombone and for brass. He was one of our students on bass trombone, and he started to compose around that time. And he wrote that piece for our trombone class. And actually, it's a description of the whole building. So when you entered the building, you had a big escalator, this you hear in the music. And there is a beautiful melody where is describing the beautiful girl of the library. And then you have another stairs going up. And then the climax of the piece is when you arrive in room 635. So that's why the piece was called 635.
En el Conservatorio de Rotterdam, George Wiegel era profesor de Jürgen. Jürgen luego se convirtió en el profesor de trombón ahí. El compositor Steven Verhelst, que muchos de ustedes lo deben conocer por millones de obras que él ha escrito para ensamble de trombones, para trombón. Él era un trombonista bajo, estudiante con Rotterdam Conservatorio. Y lo que acabamos de hablar con Jürgen fue que había una aula, una sala, que era el número 635, y esa era la sala del trombón. Stephen Verhelst hizo una compuso una obra que era cómo entrar al Conservatorio de Rotterdam pasando por la chica bonita de la librería y luego llegando al aula, a la sala número 635, donde se hacía el ensamble de trombón. Jürgen, when you start teaching at the Conservatorium of Rotterdam, how many students do you have? Did you do with the group the recording for the ITF competition? How was more or less you're changing from a student, becoming a teacher, having a job in orchestra? How was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was very nice and also sometimes challenging, but I was very lucky to have my teacher still around. So George Wiegel was still teaching on the trombone department, and I could start as his assistant. And I was at that time already starting in the orchestra, so I could have a few years in the orchestra, and I could discuss with George still how things go. And slowly he disappeared more and more, and then Pierre, Remco, and me, we took over. So it was a very smooth transition where we could learn how to teach and how to deal with certain problems taken by the hand by our own teacher somehow. And yeah, it's still, we started in a very good class because my teacher built the class, and I think we try to continue it in the best possible way. It's still about the same size. We are about 12 tenor trombone students. So like I said, now it's in Amsterdam and not in Rotterdam anymore. But and
explain this for the people they don't know about it. En el principio, la clase de trombón, que se hizo muy famosa por comenzar con un trombón colectivo, era en el Conservatorio de Rotterdam. Luego, en el año 2007-2008, esta misma clase se cambió de ciudad a Amsterdam. Son aproximadamente 50 minutos en tren. Se cambió con toda la clase completa. Más o menos la idea era tener siempre la misma calidad de trombonistas. Jorgen, one question. What do you think is the biggest skill, the biggest thing that you can find on the as a trombone player the way of Dutch people playing, or why the trombone class in the Netherlands became really famous?
Oh, that's a good, difficult question to say one thing. I think it's a combination of many things. It's a combination of a few very smart players and teachers like George Wiegel that we talked about for tenor trombone, like Ben van Dijk for bass trombone, your teacher, like Bart van Leer for jazz trombone, and they were there. They were in contact with each other, and they thought they looked around in the world, not only their own way, but they really went to different places, and they built some kind of a tradition where we try to combine things from everywhere. So we are not say we play only like this or we play only like this, but try to combine things from France, from Germany, from America, and get good teachers in from everywhere, master classes from everywhere, and build and try to take good things from everywhere. And I think that was the start of a good school. And because they have built a good school, there is a big group of good students, and they go around and they go to teach everywhere, and they get good students. So it's spread a bit like an oil thing. So there's not one thing you can say. I think in general, there's a combination of two things that I think that are important for every brass or player, or is two things: is developing musicality and putting that on top to say the music decides, and on the other hand, developing yourself as a instrumentalist as strong technically as you can in order to make the music you want to make. That is always the two things. Sorry, long story. To translate.
No worries. Estábamos hablando con Jorgen que yo le pregunté, yo tuve la posibilidad de estudiar también en Ámsterdam. Jorgen era mi maestro junto con Pierre Folders, Renko de Jager, Raymond Monecom, Ben van Dijk. Yo le preguntaba por qué la clase de trombón en los Países Bajos, en Holanda, se hizo tan famosa. Yo lo viví y vi que mucha gente venía de Canadá, de Australia, para hacer solamente la audición y estudiar con ellos. Y siempre mi pregunta era, ¿por qué? Yo vine desde Chile a Holanda a estudiar. Todo el mundo quería estudiar ahí. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Se hizo como una clase de trombón muy famosa. Y lo que decía Jorgen fue que Bart van Leer, que mucha gente lo debe conocer, George Spiegel, Ben van Dijk, tenían alumnos tan destacados, tan talentosos, que luego eso se iba como dando a conocer en todo el mundo. Y cada alumno, cada estudiante de ellos era bien, bien destacado. Entonces eso llamaba la atención de la más gente y eso se fue como un virus que tenemos ahora, que se va contaminando entre todos, pero se va contaminando a través de trombón. Jorgen, we are gonna have a little break right now because people want to hear your work. So take a break.
Okay. put something else on top, and that builds the whole piece. And that means you can play alone as a trombone player, but still accompany yourself somehow.
Ok, la obra que acaban de ver, de escuchar, que Jürgen interpretó, es de un compositor alemán que vive en Holanda y que es guitarrista de heavy metal, guitarrista de flamenco y tiene mucho, ¿cómo se diría esto? Sabe mucho acerca de cómo funcionan los loops, cómo funciona el efecto y todo. Y mucha gente siempre pensaba que no, que Jürgen venía y ponía play para que algo sonara, pero es todo hecho en vivo. Jürgen, how do you manage to learn how to use all those pedals? For sure you are not used to.
No, but it's funny because I have done more things with electronics, and I normally learn those machines through the pieces. So if the composer knew the machine very well, and he used all the options you have with the machine, and he wrote it in his piece. And because I try to play the piece slowly, you get to know the machine. So for me, the way to learn this is by having people to compose for it, and that makes me learn it. And it takes a while because it's a different sort of an extra layer. You not only have to play, but you also have to put the right pedals in the right moment. And if you make a mistake with the pedals, then you are in trouble, because then you can maybe start again. Everything is gone. So it's a different concentration, and it takes a while before you understand it. But in the end, it's very doable.
Ok. Jürgen, para la preparación que él tuvo para hacer esta obra, que para los ojos de todo el mundo es muy difícil hacerla, sobre todo porque tiene una cantidad inmensa de efectos y a la vez no solamente es tocar el trombón, sino también tener el manejo de todos los pedales. Pero él, como dice él, dice que solamente era acostumbrarse, poner en práctica todo lo que siempre está escrito en la partitura y luego hacer todas las cosas de memoria. Jürgen, are you used to play by memory, by heart?
It depends a little bit. I do that with the more common pieces, the ones that we all learn in study time. But one of the things, I love new music. I play a lot of new pieces that are written for me, and sometimes they are very complex, and you get the music very late, and then I don't have time and energy to learn it by memory. So it depends a bit. If I play Gröndal or Tomasi or David, yes, I play from memory. But if I play a contemporary music concerto with orchestra, then most of the time I use the music.
Ok, lo que yo le pregunté a Jürgen fue si él está acostumbrado a tocar de memoria, sin partitura, y él dice que, por ejemplo, las obras nuevas que él está tocando, que son hechas para él, escritas para él, no se podría hacer, pero las obras normales, estándares, Gröndal, David, Tomasi, él lo podría hacer de memoria sin tener que recurrir a la partitura. Jürgen, what about upcoming future? What is going on at the moment?
At the moment, actually, is a very nice project I'm doing now, which I'm very happy that it actually happens because of all the Corona time. Many things were cancelled, and I was already counting on this one to be cancelled, but fortunately it wasn't. It's a new piece that's written for me for trombone and orchestra, a trombone concerto by a composer called Bryce Dessner. And Bryce Dessner is most known because he's a guitarist of a famous rock group, The National, American group. But he's a very serious and very good composer, a classical composer now. And he wrote a new concerto for me that I played the world premiere last week in Germany, in Cologne. And tomorrow I will fly to Dallas, to the United States, and then I will play 4 concerts in the coming week, the US premiere of that piece with the Dallas Symphony.
What was the name of the piece again?
It's a trombone concerto, it's called, by Bryce Dessner.
Ok. Jürgen, mañana va a Dallas para hacer un tour en América para hacer el lanzamiento de esta obra que fue escrita para él de un famoso guitarrista de un grupo americano que se llama, how was the name of the group?
The National.
The Nationals.
The National.
The Nationals. El nombre de un guitarrista muy famoso que luego él mismo comenzó a hacer su carrera como compositor y escribió una obra para Jörgen. La obra se llama Trombón Concierto. El lanzamiento fue en Alemania, en Colonia exactamente. Y mañana él parte para Dallas para dar un tour en América. Pero lo que hablábamos antes era que cómo era la situación ahora con respecto a todo lo del virus que a todo el mundo le está afectando, y de a poco, piano a piano, está todo volviendo a la normalidad en la orquesta, en el mundo musical para él como solista y, por ejemplo, como él decía, comienzan ya los tours de poco a poco. Jörgen, how are you dealing with the orchestra at the moment?
Actually, considering the circumstances, it's going quite well. I mean, of course, all the world is suffering now from the COVID, so we do too. But in Amsterdam, we started playing again already in June. In the beginning, with social distancing on stage also, so we are 1.5 meters apart from each other. And they extended the stage, so we have a very big stage. And we started playing only for internet streaming, Facebook and YouTube. And now, since half August, we can have 350 people in the hall, audience, which is not so much because normally there is 2,000, so it's much less. But at least we can play and we can do concerts. And what we have done now is we made shorter programs of 1 hour without interval, and we play sometimes twice per evening. So we play one concert at 7 o'clock and one at 9:15. So 2 times 350 people is at least 700 people we can play for. And we still also every week stream our concerts. So everybody who's listening here, if you go to the Facebook site of our orchestra, the Concertgebouw Orkest, there you can find almost every week, live streaming concerts that we do in Amsterdam.
Ok, yo le pregunté a Jörgen sobre la situación con la orquesta. Jörgen trabaja en la Concertgebouw Orkest, que es en Ámsterdam. Ellos comenzaron ya a trabajar de a poco desde junio, pero desde agosto comenzaron a permitir que la gente estuviera ahí. Mayoritariamente lo que está haciendo la orquesta es hacer live streaming en YouTube, en Facebook, o si tú vas a la página concertgebouworkest.nl, luego ahí pueden encontrar los conciertos que están todos grabados. Muchas veces lo que están haciendo ellos es hacer 2 conciertos el mismo programa, porque están haciendo solamente conciertos de 1 hora sin intervalo. Hablando de cómo ellos están con la sección de trombones, con Jörgen, con Nico, con Martin, con Raymond y Perry, están obviamente haciendo las reglas como es obligatorio hacerlo, por el 1,5 metros de distancia, y normalmente la Concertgebouw, que es un edificio hermoso, te puede meter 2.000 personas para escuchar ahí. Ahora están permitiendo a 350. Mayoritariamente lo que están haciendo es todo live streaming, en vivo todo. Jörgen, we are going to have a break to leave another video. we are back with Jörgen van Rijen. Some people, they had a question, Jörgen, what kind of trombone do you play? Of course, you play tenor trombone, you play alto trombone, you can play all kinds of trombone, but what is your mouthpiece that are you using at the moment?
Yes, I play on trombones made by Courtois, Antoine Courtois, a French brand. I play since many years on that, and I'm very happy, although I know there's many good trombone builders around the world, so I wouldn't, for me it's a great trombone, but I would not say that everybody has to buy this. Everybody has to choose what works for them. But I'm very happy, and I'm working with them also on my own model. So hopefully it was stopped a little bit because of Corona, but hopefully pretty soon it will be the Amsterdam model. And the mouthpiece I play is actually funny. It's a very old mouthpiece that I started to play on when I was young, which is not very clear what exactly it is. It's also a Courtois mouthpiece. But even at Courtois, they don't completely know what it is. Okay, but
wait, I have to tell this.
Yes.
Okay, Jörgen toca con un trombón Courtois, como ustedes ya bien escucharon. Ahora él, por todo este asunto del virus, se tuvo que parar la producción de su propio trombón, que será el modelo Amsterdam. Y ahora viene una historia muy chistosa sobre la boquilla de él. So, Jörgen, tell me a little bit more specific about your mouthpiece, because I know the story, but I think people, they really want to know about your mouthpiece.
I don't know. Of course, I can say, but it's. I think we have to also sometimes to be careful not to think that the mouthpiece is the holy grail. So in the end, we have to practice. It's not the mouthpiece, but. The mouthpiece is somewhere, it's not so big. I don't know, I never measured it and it's not clear what it is, but I think it's somewhere between 5 and 6. So I know many people play much bigger mouthpieces, but I'm not the biggest fan of playing too big. It depends very much on your physical and your style of playing and the way you're built. If you are really big and like, big lips, big strong, then maybe you need a bigger mouthpiece. If you are very small, you need something smaller. I'm somewhere in between. So I think this is something that you really have to look what fits you. I mean, somebody who is very big needs big shoes. And for somebody who is smaller, it would be stupid to buy the same big shoes as the other one. You know? You have to find some shoes that fit you. And this is what fits for me since a very long time, and it's full of dents and it's full of. It looks. Everybody starts to laugh if they see my mouthpiece because it looks like stupid, but it's the one I learned to play on and I never changed.
Okay, entonces para profundizar un poco sobre la boquilla que ocupa Jörgen, él acaba de decir el tamaño de la boquilla. No tiene idea qué tamaño es, pero él cree que es entre una 5 o una 6, para que la gente que se pregunta eso. Y actualmente él toca con la boquilla hace muchos años y está llena de abolladuras y rayas, y todo el mundo siempre se ríe de la boquilla que él ocupa, porque dice, pero ¿cómo tú ocupas una boquilla así? Pero si a él le queda bien, es lo que él trataba de explicar recién. Si una persona tiene el pie grande, es grande todo, una persona pequeña no va a poder ocupar del mismo tamaño del zapato. Entonces, no importa qué boquilla tú toques, sino la que a ti te quede bien, la que a ti te acomode, si tienes los labios un poco más gruesos, o depende si eres grande, eres pequeño, a todo el mundo es diferente. Y como él bien dice, y no solamente él dice, todo el mundo repite lo mismo, no importa qué boquilla toques, qué trombón tengas, es estudiar, estudiar, estudiar. You understood that. Study, study, study.
Yes.
Jörgen, about the...
I don't, just to add one thing, I don't want to say that the mouthpiece is not important. Of course, the material you have is very important, but it has to fit you. and it's not, so you should not copy somebody, or I think it has to be also making a big sound is not necessarily coming from a big mouthpiece or a big trombone. I think the sound concept have to be in your head, and you have to find material with which you make that sound in the best possible way. And I know people who play very small with a big sound, and I know people with a very big mouthpiece with a very small sound. So it's really up to what is in your head, how you want to sound, and what your physics and your lips and the shape of your mouth, the shape of everything produces, and what you need. And there you have to find the best combination.
Ok, ok. Jorgen se refiere a que él no quiso decir que no importa qué clase de boquilla tenga, tú tienes que buscar lo que a ti te acomode. Labios gruesos, espalda grande, todo tiene que ser buscando siempre cómo tú quieres sonar, cómo te gustaría la mentalidad, qué sonido tienes en tu mente y probar esto no me acomoda, esto no me acomoda, sí, pero obviamente siempre tratar de buscar y buscar y buscar lo mejor para cada persona. Todos somos diferentes. Okay? The last question, Jorgen, just starting to say bye-bye and thanks again. Some people are asking about, because, you know, in Latin America we have a lot of talent, people that are starting, you know, Venezuela, the Sistema, in all South America, Central America, you know that for sure because you were there a few years ago, a few times ago. You had the opportunity to be there. Something that you can tell young musicians, something that you can tell young trombone players that they are starting.
Yes, many things. First of all, I would like to say every time I've been in Latin America, I've been very, very impressed by the level of playing and the amount of enthusiastic young trombone players all over Latin America. And it's something that you have to value and to treasure, because it's amazing really how much talent there is and how good trombone playing is happening in Latin America. And I've been really like touched and surprised by the enthusiasm and the will how to do things in Latin America. I remember the first time I was in Peru, I was teaching there for a week, and people came driving from Colombia, from Brazil, from Argentina, from everywhere. Some people 24 hours in a small bus with 10 people just to come there. And this is something that will, in the end, if you can keep that enthusiasm and that will to do things, you can reach everything. And sometimes I felt a little bit that people who I met were actually thinking too small about themselves, because they were really playing great, but still think, yeah, but we are only in Latin America and we're in Europe, but the level is amazing. And if you can keep that enthusiasm, then I think there's an incredible future for many people in Latin America, not only in trombone, but in music in general. And I think, okay. Yeah, maybe translate first.
La pregunta para Jorgen era sugerencias que él le podría dar a jóvenes talentos, a gente que está comenzando con el trombón, gente que tiene sueños. Y él comentó algo que obviamente a mucha gente le toca, que él estuvo su primera vez en Perú Blow Brass, se llamaba el festival que organizaban en el Conservatorio de Lima, y él se dio cuenta, primero que todo, que él quedó impresionado con la cantidad de talentos que habían, con las ganas, con el entusiasmo que muchos trombonistas tenían ahí, y gente que venía de Colombia, que venía de Chile, de Argentina, de todas partes, manejando en un bus pequeño, 10 horas, 24 horas manejando para tener una clase. Y esas cosas a Jorgen le llamaron tanta la atención. Él estaba ahí, viajando obviamente en el avión desde Europa a Perú, y lo que él trata de decir es: nunca pierdan la fe, nunca pierdan las ganas, el entusiasmo de seguir adelante, y nunca imaginarse que porque tú estás en Latinoamérica, que porque tú estás en un pueblo pequeño en Latinoamérica, eres menos que los demás. Obviamente Europa está un poco más comunicado todo, pero Latinoamérica, de pueblito, de ciudad a ciudad, hay distancias más grandes, pero no significa que tú eres menos que los demás. Mucha gente tenía clases con él en vivo y miraba a él como si fuera poco menos un alienígena o algo así. Tú eres igual que él y mucha gente se sentía pequeño al lado de él o se sentía un poco introvertido, pero a la vez tú tienes que tener las ganas, el entusiasmo y la fe para seguir adelante. Okay,
Maybe
Jorgen.
one thing I would like to add, because the question was also what I can say to young people to what to do. I think the best advice I ever got is to listen as much as possible to music. Of course, we all know we have to practice a lot. Of course, we have to practice hours a day, but to listen to music as much as possible, many different kinds of music, different styles, the same piece to 5 different versions, and listen and try to form an opinion, what you like, why you like it. The stronger your imagination becomes, how you like it and how you want it, the better you finally can make music. So I think the inspiration you should get from going to concerts, listen to music, and really enjoy music, to listen to it, and then you can also do it yourself.
Perfecto. Y un último consejo que Jorgen quiere dar a toda la gente que está viendo esta entrevista en vivo o la verá después es: escuchen música. Toda clase de estilos, toda clase de músicos, no solamente escuchen a trombonistas porque, quiero ser como él, quiero ser... No, escuchen a un cello, escuchen todo tipo de música. Y inspírense, busquen la inspiración para crecer cada día. Cada día cuenta, y no solamente es escuchar música, obviamente cuenta el estudiar, el practicar, el cómo tener una buena rutina de estudio y buscar lo que a cada persona le hace bien y le mejora, sobre todo la música que ellos escuchan. Okay, Jorgen, I think we are done.
Great.
Thanks once again. I have to tell you something, that today we reached as a school, Escuela Latinoamericana de Trombón, the Latin America School. You are the 200th guest. So
wow.
It's really important for people that are watching now. Entonces lo que decía es que Jorgen hoy cumple una meta bien grande que sé que para Alejandro, para Andrés, para todo el grupo de Escuela Latinoamericana es muy importante, porque se alcanza el invitado número 200 y nada menos que con Jörgen van Rijen. Once again, Jörgen, thanks a lot for your time, for saying yes. Always you are open.
Of course.
Of course.
My pleasure.
Bueno, nada, muchísimas gracias. De verdad que quiero agradecer, pues bueno, primeramente, maestro Jörgen. Thank you very much. It's an honor for me, for us. You being here. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias, Andrés, por siempre estar aquí apoyando a la Escuela Latinoamericana de Trombón. También gracias a través de Uniendo Distancias, tu programa. Por supuesto, Matías Varela, que de hace un tiempo, pues bueno, ya veníamos organizando con él esta actividad. Pues bueno, nada, artista número 200 en, ¿qué? 5 meses, en 5 months.
Incredible.
Pues bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos los que siempre han estado allí para apoyar las actividades de la Escuela Latinoamericana de Trombón. Pues bueno, cerramos este domingo con broche de oro. Los invito a que mañana estén sintonizados para que vean las actividades de la próxima semana. También viene por allí, anunciamos que viene el seminario para el próximo fin de semana. Viene un seminario intensivo con algunos maestros que tendremos de invitados, así que estaremos dando información al respecto en la semana. Nuevamente, thank you very much, maestro Jürgen.
Thank you, and I hope COVID is over soon and I can come to Latin America in person again.
Oh, yes.
As many as people as possible in all the different...
I see you in Peru.
Yeah.
Ok, bueno, muchísimas gracias, Andrés. Unas palabras antes de despedirnos.
No, hasta luego. Muchas gracias a todos, a los invitados de hoy y esta celebración de los 200 profesores que han pasado por aquí. De verdad, un logro y una alegría para usted. Felicidades, Alejandro.
Mati.
Gracias, Alejandro, por, primero que todo, por esta iniciativa bien grande que todo comenzó cuando este virus que sabemos, COVID, como músicos nos estancó un poco. También a la iniciativa que tiene Andrés en Costa Rica, que es espectacular. Siempre sigo todos sus entrevistas y sus programas. And dankjewel, Jörgen, for your time.
Graag gedaan.
Ok, bueno, nos despedimos, pero vamos a cerrar con un último video del trabajo del maestro JÖRGEN van Rijen, de Astor Piazzolla. Aprovechando que estamos acá en Argentina, vamos a difundir este hermoso trabajo que es Chiquilín de Bacín, de Astor Piazzolla. Con esto nos despedimos por hoy. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Chao.
Hello everybody, my name is Jörgen van Rijen and here is something very exciting. It's the new trombone concerto by Bryce Dessner. Bryce Dessner is a wonderful composer. You might know him through his classical pieces. He also wrote film scores, very famous movies like The Two Popes or The Revenant, Grammy Award winning. But you might also know him because he's the guitarist of the rock band The National. He wrote a very exciting new trombone concerto for me that I'm going to world premiere with the Württemberger Kammerorchester next week in Cologne, in the Philharmonie in Cologne. And the week after we will play 2 concerts in Heilbronn. And then in the first week of October, I'll play the US premiere with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra in Dallas. I think it's really a great contribution to the trombone repertoire. It has 3 movements. The first movement is very groovy. It starts with a rhythmical pattern on one note, which sort of comes into a dancey theme. Then comes to the second movement, which is very relaxed. It's a beautiful melody and very warm, almost dreamy music. And then the third movement, it starts with a little cadenza, and then the rhythm comes back, but in a very different way. It's almost like a repetitive Morse code that slowly evolves into a big, almost ecstatic tutti orchestral finale. So I'm very excited about this, and I hope as many people as possible will come to the concerts next week, the 13th of September in the Philharmonie in Cologne and the 20th of September in Heilbronn. If you can't make it, no problem, because there will be many more concerts later. First of all, in the first week of October in Dallas with the Dallas Symphony, the US premiere. And later on, there are concerts already planned in Paris, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and hopefully many more. So as many people as possible can enjoy the great instrument trombone in this fantastic, wonderful new trombone concerto by Bryce Dessner.